supposed to be 21 inches actually. Oh, pretty close.
Getting
20 and a quarter.
Getting it. And that's without
see where Molly's
even
was.
checking.
Yeah, pretty close. 20.
Nice job. I'm at the Rogue Valley Growers Market today, stocking up on some of my favorite bread from Rise Up Bakery. P.S. They always have the longest line here, but if you've had the baked goods, you can understand why. So naturally, I was curious about the people behind this bakery, behind this incredibly popular, slightly addictive bread. And listen, this episode is not just for me and my curiosity. I'm doing this for you. This is investigative.
It'll rise and like double in size or so from here. I don't know, today maybe we have like 100 loaves combined of the focaccia ciabatta. And then we do these little rosemary rolls in this dough as well. You'll see us do in a few minutes. But the total on the bread count today is like 500 loaves or so.
Where are we right now in the world? This place is beautiful out here.
Little Applegate watershed, which of course is in the greater Applegate watershed, which of course is in the greater Rogue watershed, but specifically we're on Yale Creek Road. And yeah, our community is called Full Blooms. All the original founders met at the San Francisco Zen Center, Green Gulch Farm, which is actually in Marin. And we just got inspired to like do our own thing. And our friend Ryan his dad had just died, so he inherited a bunch of money. He wanted to get out of the stock market. He said, I want to buy land. I want to start our own little kind of farming community. And so we were just fully on board. I was like 26 and pregnant. We all had a lot of like similar values spiritually, but also food-wise, like we were all really into the organic farming movement and sustainable farming. And so moving up here, we just fell in love with this property and luckily could afford it. And then kind of realized, okay, we can't all do farming because farming's really hard to make a living at. And there were 6 of us, and then a baby on the way. And then I had the bread experience from the Zen Center, and Joe was like, we should make bread. And I was like, okay, well, I only made, 90 loaves a week at the Zen Center, and I killed their sourdough, so you have to go and and I was pregnant. I was like, Joe, you have to go and get an internship somewhere. And he just happened upon, he should tell this story because he's so good at telling it, but
I'll ask him for sure.
He just happened upon, this little bakery right where we had been living with my parents, where I grew up in the Napa Valley, and they needed a baker to learn everything the head baker knew because he was having a baby and he wanted to take a whole month off. So he was like, I need to teach you everything I know in 3 months. And so
it was like super naive, super ridiculous to think like, I'll do this for 30 days and then we'll go start a bakery. Really absurd. So yeah, the ignorance like actually served me well. It was blissful. We were gonna move up here in November of 2005. And so I was like, well, I'll just work for the bakery for 30 days and I'll figure it out, I'll get my experience. And I came back after the first day and I told Rosie, I was like, oh my God, dude, I think it's gonna take a year. And it did take a year. I committed to work for them at the model bakery with Rob Alexander, my mentor, for a year. And and then in 2006, we moved up here a year later. And then I actually really loved it. I really loved baking bread. I really enjoyed the process. I loved what I was learning. I had high aptitude for it. It was very physical. It was very old world. I loved working with the peel, brick ovens, and everything about it was killer. It took a while for me to understand the life of a loaf of bread. And so living that, I was working like 50 hours a week, and living that 10 hours a day, 5 days a week within the first month, I actually internalized a lot. And then the proof, the shaping, the different kinds of breads, the sourdoughs versus the yeasted, commercial yeasted ciabattas and breads like that, multi-grains versus white doughs, straight doughs versus mixed, learned all those things, but then mixing and baking, I got to do all those things there.
This is our rosemary ciabatta, which is an Italian olive oily bread that we make. And we're just cutting it up so it's like a rough shape. Basically, we don't have to like shape it like you'll see us shaping the other bread later. This one we just roll out of the tub and cut it into rectangles.
And Rosie, everything's done by hand here.
Well, of course we have a mixer,
Sure.
so we don't mix by hand.
Thank goodness.
Well, we
right?
do mix the rye bread by hand. And we also have a dough divider you'll see in a few minutes, which for the bigger quantities of doughs, it's helpful that don't have to be divided very specifically like this one. Then we'll do this dough divider, which we only bought that like a year and a half ago. So for a long time we were just dividing everything by hand.
How tough is this on the body?
I mean, at the scale we're at now, I feel like way better about it, but I guess we could ask our employees too, how they feel on their bodies. My body's gotten used to it, but I've had to definitely do lots of stretches and kind of like it works certain muscles over and over, and so if I'm not careful, I can really get tight and pinchy in spots for sure.
Sure.
I've always loved working with my hands. Like, I'm a seamstress, I'm a farmer. I love like making things for people, so I love making food and bread. So bread just really came naturally to me. I also like grew up on a hippie kind of commune where they baked bread daily, and we had some goats for a little while. And that life was always kind of nostalgic to me because when I was like in middle school or so, we moved into town and off of the farm, and that was a big like, no. So I think there was always something calling to me like back to the land movement, kind of. I want to get back to like the simple things, like chopping wood, carrying water. It's like the Zen phrase, to just really connect more deeply with like the things that I need to survive, and then also to be able to like sell those things to other people and make a living that way has always been my goal.
We were traveling up to this property after it had been bought. So it was this 2005, and we had just decided we were going to start a bakery, and we stopped in to fuel up at Weed, California. And there's a small bakery there, which we had never seen before, but we noticed, so we're like, oh, we should go in and check it out. And it was a small bakery, but it had an oven that was giant with 2 doors like that, but it was basically twice as big. Didn't rotate or anything. It was just like a static oven. And the owner was there, and he was baking bread, and he's like, we told him we wanted to start a bakery, and that his oven was amazing, and it was wood fire. We wanted to do wood fire bread too. And he's like, and he said, he asked us where we were living, and we told him, and he's like, oh my God, there happens to be an oven just like this 20 minutes from your house in St. Helena. The Model Bakery has one of these.
No way.
Yeah, because there are these brothers from Oakland that went all the way up and down the state of California building those ovens. The one in Weed, the one in St. Helena, the Model Bakery, down in the Mission San Juan Bautista has one, which is actually the very first homemade bread I ever had when I was in 3rd grade on a field trip was from one of those ovens. And I never forgot it. I was blown away by that bread. So that may be one of the reasons why I was intrigued about really home-baked bread or wood-fired bread or whatever. The monks at San Juan Bautista for my 3rd grade trip. But anyway, I went to the Model Bakery, and it was those ovens, and had I not found out that the Model had those, I might have gone to the other bakery in St. Helena, which wasn't as good. So anyway, it was just an example of what I saw as the serendipity that we experienced like many times over once we said yes to Ryan when he invited us to start the bakery. Like it just kept happening, or it was just like we said yes and then doors just kept opening and opportunities and great connections. And
somebody said like, okay, wait 5 years because you won't make any money for 5 years. We're like, really, 5 years? So luckily we were able to do that. We had some family help financially and help from Ryan. And then, year 5 literally hit in August one year, and it was like, oh no, literally like now we're making money over what we're spending.
So they were right.
Yeah, it was amazing. It became obvious pretty early on, like we need to make as much bread as possible to like make this work. And so, and also, you know, we weren't able to charge very much in the beginning, and I was kind of blindsided by some of, you know, the business expenses that come with it all, just like payroll and workers' comp and just all the stuff. Like I'm kind of a geek when it comes to math and like planning. And so I had all these different charts of like, okay, what are our expenses gonna be? What's our income gonna be? And my mom's an accountant too. But none of my workings like could prepare me for the fact that like, okay, there was a bunch of expenses I did not even know about. I wasn't a business major, you know. And then the price of wheat like went way up, especially organic wheat. So when we started, it was like 30 cents a pound. And by like year 5, it was like 80 cents a pound. Mm-hmm. Most of our flour comes from Justo's mill in San Francisco. We order a pallet every couple weeks of flour from them. That's just the white flour. And our whole wheat flour comes from Fry Farms. And it's a nice heirloom wheat called the Rouge de Bordeaux. And then we get some rye, also from Justo's, although I think that Fry's gonna have some rye for us soon. Teff flour that comes from the Willamette Valley, Camas County mill. The teff is really nice. It's like a naturally gluten-free seed. It's also ancient grain and really earthy, beautiful. We've got some right here, this dark, pretty color. So that's the teff. And yeah, it's really nice and finely ground and just tastes so earthy. And it's kind of, it's the same thing that they have in injera bread from Ethiopian restaurants. It's like the flat sourdough. So we haven't figured out how to make a sourdough teff unless it's flat, which we don't want it to be flat. So. For a long time, our goal was just like, okay, bake as much as possible to get our employees like up to $15 an hour. I think we hit $15 an hour, like starting rate, maybe like 8 years ago or something. We were super proud. And then it just felt like that's no longer even a living wage, you know? And so we got it up to like $17 an hour, and we would add more accounts, add more bread. And then it'd be like, oh my God, this is so much bread. We need more people. And then we'd have more people to pay. So we need to add more bread. And it just kept getting bigger, biggering, you know? And that's like the Lorax, you know, biggering and biggering. It's not always a good thing. We were trying to set up systems where it could work, but at the end of it all, yeah, I was burning out a lot, and just wanting to get back to, okay, I want to interact with the dough more and less, you know, managing people, managing schedules. Like, it just felt like such a juggling act that had so many balls in the air. So we had been thinking for years about scaling down, and finally just kind of had to do it.
How many loaves were you pumping out a week?
On average, I'd say 3,200, but and around the holidays, it'd sometimes be 4,000. Yeah, it was nuts. I know. That was a lot. And we had 17 employees doing everything like from farmers markets, deliveries, pack out. We had 5 people at pack out just to slice and bag all the bread for stores. Who would start at 4:30 in the morning, work till like 10:30, 11, just bagging, slicing. It's just a lot to and we're way out here, and so it's really hard to find people who want to work in a bakery in the middle of nowhere and wake up at 4 a.m., you know. That was a struggle. Joe and I both really love what we do and love making the bread, and it just felt like we got to make something shift that feels like we can do this, you know, day in and day out and not be just overwhelmed and strained. And yeah.
The baking takes a toll, but I think actually what was even worse for me was the ultra like late night where I was working from 4 in the evening until 4 in the morning. So when we downsized, it meant that I could actually be done in here by midnight. That meant, you know, I'm getting to bed 4. I mean, I'm going to bed at night, you know, not in the wee hours of the morning. Yeah. So that felt pretty huge as a transition to kind of a more sustainable ride every, 3 days a week. That made a big difference.
And, you know, it was like, well, we don't want to stop doing what we love here. We just needed to make it more energetically sustainable for us. So even though that means less customers get the bread, it was definitely something we needed to do, so.
If someone were to look in, they go, oh, this is a perfect example of a small business. Would you agree with that?
For sure, and we've never wanted to get huge because what we've seen in the artisan bread world is when you scale up, your quality goes way down because you're bringing in machines instead of people. And these machines can only handle dough that's workable, machinable, they call it. And so they'll add scary ingredients to make it machinable, dough conditioners and whatnot. So it's never, in my mind, it's like never been a thing where, you know, we've actually had companies email us and say like, do you want to sell your business? You know, we'll take it. And we're just like, no, thank you. It's like, this is our baby. Like our bakery, for me, it was like we worked so hard for so long, not making barely any money. And why would I just give it up as soon as it's like actually making some money and making us a good living?
I have some full size and I also have some from our last bake in there that are all going to be half off.
Longest line at the growers market is the line for Rise Up.
Yeah, people say, we haven't seen bread lines like this since wartime.
That feels good, right?
The older crew. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel good to like make customers wait, but it does feel good that they love our bread so much they will wait. It's really awesome. We try to move the line.
It's really funny because I've been watching you for the last 15 minutes I've been doing this interview. You can tell you do a lot of things with your hands.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yes, I love these hands. They have served me well.
I was gonna ask you about that. This is so hands-on. Everything y'all do here is so hands-on. It's really impressive to watch.
Thanks. Yeah, I love that aspect of it. Just the hand-eye coordination, also the nuances of like making it a more efficient process to get a dough into a ball, you know, like I kind of geek out about that stuff, like efficiency, like how fast can I just get it to where it needs to be, and don't touch it too much, because that's kind of one error that a lot of new employees will have is like they just go and go and go, and the dough starts ripping, and it's like, no. It's like, what does this dough want where it's just perfect amount and not too much, you know, handling. And yeah, so it's fun. It feels like it's an alive being in your hands in some ways, you know. It is like growing and fermenting and like doing its thing, and each bread we make has its own little personality in my mind too. So it's really fun to just get in there and work with each dough.
This is what I love about food and the culinary world in general. The people who nerd out over whatever's in front of them, whether it's a loaf of sourdough or vegetables or butchering an animal, whatever, the love and skill and energy that they put into it, those are the people that I want to support. Those are the people that I want to eat their bread or go to their restaurant. Mm-hmm. That means something to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I actually joke, I say food is my love language, which I don't think is technically one of the love languages, but
It should be.
yeah, for sure. And it's like, oh my God, there's these weird ingredients, and then you create this whole thing that didn't exist before. And like for bread, it's like there's the chemistry involved and the timing and the temperatures. And like I love the puzzle. Just keep learning. That's the awesome thing about bread. It's like it's forever teaching us more and more.
How so? What do you mean by that?
Well, like a little bit of what I was talking about before, where the flour quality can change and vary throughout the year, be different consistencies, different protein contents, different absorptibility, and then also just like rates of fermentation. And we don't have a set temperature in here. It varies season to season, day to day. We've had flours that were for like months being really weird on us, and so we'd send them to a flour lab, like in California, and they'd be like, okay, we're gonna put it through our, machines that will test the ash content and the strength, and sometimes they couldn't figure it out either, like what was going on with certain flours.
The oven's heated straight 250 Celsius, like just over 500. And what I have to do is sweep it and then drop some mops on sheet pans that are soaking wet mops, so that they heat up and then disperse a ton of steam. So then we get some really good volume and then a really beautiful crust. So that steam is like a ingredient in the bread that most people don't realize, but I mean, I call it an ingredient because without it, your bread looks like crap. So yeah, there's just a residual bit of flour on the hearth, and we sweep it off before we start. Yeah, the hearth is like a giant lazy Susan. It's a concrete pour on a steel wheel. So it can fit like 80 hearth loaves, which are loaves that aren't in pans, or like 150 pan loaves at a time. And it's called a white oven because the firebox is in a separate place, not on the hearth. A black oven has the fire, it's like a pizza oven where the fire's inside, right in here, and you see ashes and coals, so they call it a black oven. This way though, we have the fire in a different place, so we can just basically keep firing it over the course of the entire bake.
And those are the mops?
Yeah, wet mops. Yeah, this is the least exciting thing to go in and come out of the oven.
The mops.
Yeah, although it's really funny to like freak people out sometimes when they're like coming in for a demo and I've preheated or pre-steamed the oven, and I pull one of those out and they're just like, what is that? It's not spaghetti. San Francisco Baking Institute convinced us not to build a brick oven, but to go with this Juan Yopi, and they came from Barcelona and built it in 7 days, and we were their gophers. And it was this older guy and a 40-year-old guy, and they were killer and fantastic at what they did, but they never drank water, just coffee and beer. Water is for frogs. That's what they said.
That's what they said.
Water is for frogs.
So they came from Barcelona and built this for you guys?
Yeah, it came over in 33,000 pounds. Yeah, so it was a lot of material, brick, mortar, all different kinds of bricks. It's crazy because the interior, it's kind of a shame. It's hidden, it's encased in this steel, but on the inside there is a dome that's made of brick, and inside the dome are these, it's like a maze basically that convects the air, all made with brick, and then it shoots up the side through a flue, goes around the top, and then it, the heat escapes through the chimney. But it's just an incredible design. And then it's got a ton of insulation that basically helps hold a lot of heat. So, like, the only thing electric about it is the light. And then it's wood fired.
You could say, Rosie, it's just flour. It's just water. It's just bread.
Right.
But I don't think that's all it is for you.
No, yeah, it's a whole process. It's an alive being. Like I said, I mean, there's flour that kind of feels like dead and it can sit there and not do much. And then there's water and salt and starter, all these things on their own don't do much. But then you put them together and this like thing starts to happen. It just feels like magic. And yeah, I mean, I don't do that much to make it happen. It's just like it wants to do this. Over the years, there's been moments where there's challenges and conflict, and not every shift is like high vibes, but it's a goal we've had. It's just like, let's put as much love and care into this product and into the people here who help make it, and that's definitely been a high priority for us, for sure. And, our priorities have been like, stay local, like increase the local food economy so that can be more sustainable, like if shit hits the fan globally, but also like stick with organic. We don't want funky stuff in our bread. So, and also like, minimal waste, minimal plastic waste. We compost. We're building a community that really is like caring for each other, but also the land we live on, and yeah, the area.
Anything else?
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else that I like to talk about? I guess we hit it all.
We did.